All right, good morning, economics students. This is a video that's going to wrap up Learning Standard 2 of Unit 2, which looks at different types of interest rates. So up to this point, we should have learned about compound interest. And so what I want you to do first, let me present my screen here. All right, so what I want you to do, this is a certificate of deposit that pays compound interest, in which the percentage rate is 2%, the APR is 2%. The principal is $8,000, so I completed year one for you guys. What I want you to do is I want you to pause the video and fill out the rows for year 2, 3, and 4. Now remember, this is compound interest, so we're not basing the 2% interest for year 2 on the principal. We're basing it on the $8,160. That's the beginning balance for year 2. So pause the video, do the math, and play it when you've completed the table. So at this point, your table should look like this. You should have principal that starts with $8,000, 2% interest rate. Your ending balance for the year should be $8,160. And if you would take $8,160 times 0.02, you've earned $163.20 in year 2. You add it to the ending balance, and so your ending balance for year 2 would be $8,323, and then you just repeat. It's just like rinse and repeat for year 3 and year 4. You're just multiplying the beginning balance in the year times the 2% interest rate. So with compound interest, this person has made $659 in interest throughout the 4-year term. And so this kind of shows the importance of compound interest compared to simple interest, in that compound interest is not based on the original principal. It compounds. It's new interest that accrues each year, and it's never based on the beginning principal like simple interest is. So don't worry about the practice problems. See if you can focus on this one. Pause the video. Except now you have a new principal, new interest rate of 4%. So same practice as before. You want to multiply your principal times 0.04 and then roll it over, and then your 0.04 times your new balance for year 2. Pause the video and then play it when you've filled out all 4 years. So your answer should look like this. Again, this person made $800 in interest, 4% interest rate for year 1. You roll that over, you're going to start year 2 with a balance of $20,800 times 0.04. You've made $832 in interest in year 2. Roll that over, you do the same thing over and over again. So the numbers speak for themselves. If you got questions on how to complete something like this, I would go back to the slides around slides like 28, 30. Gives you instructions on how to complete this, and ask me questions in our Canvas conference. Here's some vocabulary you need to understand. Okay, so your APY is your yield, how much you're essentially earning in the course of the year just on your interest. Okay, so to determine your annual percentage yield, it's the amount of interest you earned in a year divided by the original principal. So if you wanted to determine the APY for year 1, it would be $800, that's what you earned in interest, divided by $20,000. For year 4, it would be $899.89 divided by the original principal of $20,000. So it's usually going to be close to 4%. It'll be a little bit higher because it's compounded. So the 4% isn't based always on the original principal. It's based on your starting amount for each new year. And so up to this point, we've learned about a simple savings account, which pays interest on using simple interest, right, which is always based on the original principal. We've learned about a certificate of deposit, which is a CD that pays compound interest. The drawback there is that your term is longer and the money is locked in. You can't withdraw that money. A statement savings account, which is something we haven't covered yet, is an account that pays interest per quarter. Notice here, the interest is paid every year. So our last step in Learning Standard 2 is to understand how to determine interest on a quarterly basis versus an annual basis like we see in this example, Okay, so now here's how to figure out a statement savings account that pays you interest quarterly, compound interest quarterly. So I'll let you go ahead and write that down, read through the example. So if Tim's principal is $8,000, his interest rate is 2%. At the end of the year, 8,000 times 0.02, he's going to make $160, but that's not $160 that's paid out annually every year. That's interest that is paid out every quarter. So you're not going to get $160 every quarter. That'd be way too much. That doesn't make the math work. So what you'd have to do is you'd have to divide the interest by the 4 quarters. Okay, 4 quarters in a year. 12 divided by 3, you get 4 quarters. 160 divided by 4. So this person's going to get $8,040. That's going to be his ending balance at the end of the first quarter. So this is the most important part. If you're looking for like the equation, the method of figuring out your earnings in a statement savings account using compound quarterly interest, this is what you do. Number 1, same process as before. You just multiply your principal by the interest. So like here, 8,000 times 0.02, simple enough. But now we're just adding a step in here. We're adding number 2 in, because now you're dividing by 4 quarters in a year, and you add that to the beginning balance. So if you look here, this is a annual, this is just 1 year. I take that back. This is just a 1-year term, but this statement savings account pays out quarterly compound interest. So you'll notice that I did the first 2 quarters, or essentially the first 6 months of the statement savings account for you. And what I'd like you to do is, following the example and the steps I gave you here, and this is slide 45. If you're following along in your own notes, this is slide 45 and this is 46. See if you can pause the video and figure out how much the new balance is going to be after quarter 3 and then to end the year in quarter 4. Okay, so again, follow the steps that I gave you in slide 45, the example for the first two quarters. Pause the video and then play it when you're ready to go. Okay, so what you do here, this person is beginning, Tim is beginning the 3rd quarter with a balance of $8,080.20 times 0.02, and then divide by 4. You know, that's the extra step. I can't emphasize that enough. You just got to add 1 extra step of dividing by 4 because of the 4 quarters in a year. So Tim earned $40.40 in the 3rd quarter. You add it to his beginning quarterly amount, and that's what he ends with, and then you just repeat, roll it over to quarter 4, and then repeat. So notice that it's not a major difference. If Tim had done compound annual interest, Tim would have made $8,160 at the end of the year. He's made an extra $1.20. Not that much again, but you know, it's still an extra $1.20, and if you use a higher interest rate, or if you kept your money in for say 5 or 10 years, now the results are going to be pretty drastic. So again, pretty minute difference, but it's important to understand, like if you did want to invest your money in the types of savings account, by this point you should know a simple savings account that pays simple interest, a CD that pays compound interest annually, or a statement savings account that pays quarterly compound interest. Those are the 3 types of accounts that you should know by this point. Okay. We'll do that more in class. This is some practice. So, and if you want to determine the APY, the annual percentage yield, it's right there for you. So again, the key takeaway here, make sure you know the difference between simple savings, annual compound, statement savings with quarterly compound, and how to do those, how to figure those out. You know, simple is just your principal times the interest. Compound, your principal times the interest and then roll it over times the new balance. And then quarterly, follow these steps, okay? That's what you'll essentially be quizzed on for Learning Standard 2, and that's what you got to know for Learning Standard 2. So I hope this helps. If you got questions, bring them to the class meeting, and I'll talk to you guys soon.